Welcome to Strategy Sessions by Thirsty Bandit Consulting, Episode 10, Experiential Marketing.
I'll tell you, it needs it, right?
Hmm.
I think the entire industry needs a swift kick in the
Kick in the
nards.
ass. Yep.
And we're live.
Yes.
Hey,
And we're
Thirsty Bandit Strategy Sessions. Corey, Rachel here with another riveting podcast, Rachel. I think we're just going to do that cold open and just lead with the swift kick in the nards and see if people spits out their morning coffee while they're listening.
I like a bit of shocking news from time to time, so let's do it. I love it.
Okay. Just in case I get cold feet, we'll do another quick cold entry here.
Just in
Okay.
case.
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Corey Kraychak. I'm here with Rachel Brown. This is
Hello.
another episode of Strategy Sessions by Thirsty Bandit Consulting. This is episode 10, Rach, if you can believe that. 10 of these
Can
lovely
you believe it?
nuggets of knowledge we've put together. And we were just talking about the lineup that we have coming up, and I can't wait to get some of these folks on the horn and kind of pick their brains about things. But
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome content. We'll have some really interesting dialogue and a lot of really cool characters coming in to give a different perspective, I think, on the world of wine. So it's going to be great.
yeah, the industry's at that moment where you need disruptors. You need people that are going to shake things up because what's been working isn't working anymore. And I think that's a really great segue for today's topic, which is experiential, right? Experiential
Hmm.
marketing, which for you and I think it's been very hard for us to ever separate experiential marketing from just general winery operations, sales and marketing strategy, because I think we've lived and breathed it for so long that it's just a natural extension.
Yeah, when you're tied in it, it is hard to separate, right? Like it's your lifeblood. So you are in every step of it. So having the distance, I think, a little bit is very hard to do when it is your blood, sweat, and tears, and it's what you think about morning, noon, and night. It is hard to push back a little bit.
Yep. And I wrote a LinkedIn article. I don't know if you saw, I published it today.
I didn't.
But I did, yeah.
I'll have to read it.
I wrote a LinkedIn article talking about Adult Trick or Treat that's
Mm.
being hosted by Chaddsford Winery in October. It's their 10th year of doing the program as a fully immersive, walkable experience. And really how Adult Trick or Treat is sort of the ultimate expression of experiential marketing, because what we really tried to do was deconstruct what a traditional tasting experience is and come up with something that was going to be ultra memorable, nostalgic, playful, but also on brand. And so at the time, right? We can come, hindsight's always 2020, but uh, at the time, I don't think we were, thought we were coming up with something for all of those buzzword worthy points. We just wanted to figure out a way to get people to the property. And so, we came up with it, but the reality is it checks literally every single experiential box that you have out there. And it's a complete monster for that winery now, and it's really completely changed how the fourth quarter shakes out in terms of their P&L statements. So I just felt like it was it's a crisp fall day, and it's one of those things where you start thinking about these programs. And this is the first time in literally 10 years that I'm not in it. And I think this is the second year removed from you not being in it. So I think we have the luxury now of kind of sitting back and looking at it from a distance. Um, that doesn't mean that I'm recommending every winery out there taking the concept of adult trick or treat and running with it. In fact, it's the exact opposite of that. I think that, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think people need to find their own adult trick or treat, whatever that program is, and sort of figure out some of those lessons and apply them in a different manner.
Yeah, every place is different, right? Like you have different people coming in that want different things, and that program worked. It worked for us. It worked for years for us, and it is a monster of a program to one, execute, to work through all the hiccups and the kinks involved, the setup, the wear and tear on the property, like the time. There's a lot of things that went into that, and it was successful, and people really enjoyed it. We've had people come back year after year after year. The core of that program, though, I think, right, is kind of what you were talking about. It's checking the boxes. So how can you take a blueprint like that and then fit it into your winery with the people coming in, what they want, what they're after? So like maybe you kind of, leach a little bit here and there, but that is not necessarily a drag and drop program to every winery that's looking to create some kind of fall programming. It's its own entity.
If you're a luxury brand, for example, and you are, single vineyard expressions, and you're really catering to a much higher um, disposable income audience, adult trick or treat's probably not going to be where you want to be. But if you're a winery like Chaddsford, which is, we built that brand being comfortable in our own skin, with the tagline "Wine for Everyone." There was a split portfolio, so you had people that were really interested in dry, you had people that were really interested in sweet wines, and you kind of wanted to have this sort of delightful melange, this melting pot of
Hmm.
a consumer base, making dry wines more approachable and fun, maybe elevating the sweet wine experience a little bit. I think that adult trick or treat sort of kind of found things in the middle there. And go ahead.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, it really, like, I really think it evened the playing field. One, because, we picked the wines that we thought were one best suited to the time of year, obviously the pairings. But really, there is, I think, sometimes a little bit of a beauty of having no say in what someone is pouring for you, because then we're able to explain this tastes like this because of X, Y, and Z. This sweet wine is made X, Y, and Z. And I think it removes a lot of the stigma on the sweeter wines, especially like having someone kind of explain to you, right? You're at like a cute little themed station, you have your glass, you have a pairing, and someone is educating you on these things while still kind of, sprinkling in some ghost stories and other fun anecdotes. But it really allowed us, I think, to talk to people in a very kind of what's the word I want to use? Just like a very what almost one-on-one kind of way, even though it was a group. Because as you're talking to people, what do you like to drink? What do you do at home? Like, what do you enjoy? You're able to take that and be like, hey, look, I know you said you don't like this, but try it with this. And then kind of explain, and but you're able to do it in a group of 30 people and still have it kind of feel like a singular one-on-one experience as you're talking to people. And we had a lot of people leave saying, oh my gosh, I loved this, and I don't drink dry, and I'm going to take this home. So it really allowed us to kind of play to the masses and give every wine a fighting chance, even if people, were coming in with those kind of preconceived notions.
Yeah, and also, just piggybacking on the food and wine pairing concept, right? I mean, food and wine
Mhm.
pairings in tastings are so important because it gives people an understanding of, how you can elevate your experience at home or, outside of the winery, and not just drink the product by itself, because, most wine it really should be drank with something. And those programs get tired. There's only so many charcuterie boards and artisanal cheeses and, you know, all the normal dark chocolate,
Mhm.
that you can pair. And we do all those too, but this was that time of the year to shift focus and do something different. And I know we've told this story quite a bit, but the origins of this event happened a year before I came back in 2015. And the original model was like a plate of store-bought candy. Uh,
It was my first experience.
yeah. And
Yep.
that delivers a very different experience. That is something, even if you are looking to borrow this idea, that I would recommend against. I mean, you want to have thought and attention to elements like which foods are you going to be using, and what can you easily store and scale based upon what the demand is going to be. So we always looked at artisan local suppliers that were doing fun Halloween style treats, but we're not, throwing a couple of, Hershey's miniatures on a plate saying like, here you go, trick or treat. happy Halloween.
Yeah, and I think too, like the time we took to find those pairings, I think too, it also shows that like you can literally pair wine to anything. I think it breaks some of the stigma, right? Because when people think about wine and food, I think they're thinking about like, a seared fillet and like some roasted veggies and like a whipped potato. And it's like, I'm tired, man. I'm not making that every Wednesday. So when am I pairing it to? So like I think one of the biggest pairings that we did that people loved so much was the cake pop, that
Mhm.
lemon cake pop that we did with the sparkling that one year, but it
Oh yeah.
showed it's like, okay, there's dexterity here. We can pair it with popcorn, we can do it with all of these different things and create a really good balance with something that you probably have in your pantry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I was going to ask you what was one of your favorite pairings throughout the years. That was
Mm.
always, that's one of the things that I missed this year, right? That not being able to figure out the menu with a team and, do a little bit of trial and error. I always liked our ability to do a cocktail of some
Hmm.
sort, because again, showing additional versatility. And for me, I don't know if it was my favorite concoction or drink, but certainly my favorite story from the cocktail side was the partnership we had with Just Born, the confectionery, candy producers of Peeps that are not really that far, about an hour north of where the winery is. And for several years, they were a product sponsor for the event. And their inability to get our shipping address, our drop ship address correct, and delivering it to a poor gentleman's residence twice. And there's nothing quite like coming home from work and having like 3 pallets of ghost Peeps just blocking your garage
Just a
door.
thousand marshmallows in your driveway. Yeah.
Right. So to receive a call and then have to coordinate picking up, all of those Peeps for the program, and then to
I
have it
remember that.
happen and another, like the next year, it happened again to the poor guy. They weren't able to fix it. So that story will always bring a smile to my face because you can't make some of this stuff up.
No, you cannot. You
Uh,
cannot.
so anyway, in my article, when you get a chance to read it, for me, it really kind of came down to, as I thought about it, kind of four points, which could be applied. And again, we're using the season and the fact that it is adult trick or treat time again to really deliver a larger message about experiential and why experiential marketing is is linked in a way that should just be an obvious connection with your wine brand. But when you start to think about what can I do to build out a similar style program and capitalize on the foot traffic, the revenue generated from a ticket price, and then exposure to maybe customers that you didn't have before because you're delivering on an entirely new experience beyond just traditional tasting room experience, right? There are four things for me, right? Well, one, it's immersive, right? It's not just sipping at a bar or sitting at a table. It's moving through the space, maybe getting to see parts of the property that you aren't typically giving people access to. I always like that walking tour concept. So if your property has that ability, it's certainly something to consider. But I think you brought up a really good point, which is be aware of the wear and tear that's going to happen when you start traipsing 100, 200, 700 people through that space in a day.
Yeah, we felt it, we saw it big time. And it really, I think it keeps people engaged, right? Because they're like, where are we going next? What's happening next? What is this going to look like? Like, what stories are they going to tell in which space? And it was, I liked that. And as staff, we kind of had our scripts and what we settled into. But for the people in the group, you can hear that of like, oh, what's this? Or look at how this is done. And it keeps them invested, it keeps them moving, it keeps them engaged. Sitting, after a while, you can see kind of people check out. If you're doing like a seated tasting, if you're at a bar, like what is keeping them like with you? So walking and guiding them and going through it is great. But we definitely had a couple of muddy little slip and slide areas that we forged over, but it really does do so much to keep people with you through the entire experience.
And it could be their favorite part of the entire thing. They
Hmm.
find this one corner of the property that they'd never seen before, or that just really resonates with them, and they take pictures of it and say, we got to get back there. The next one for me was that it sparks this sort of nostalgic emotion, right? And we've dipped into the adult versions of kid programming more often than most. But most kids love Halloween and
Mhm.
typically, are sad when they grow out of that. So giving people an excuse to dress up and go station to station, like door to door, sparks this sort of nostalgia for them that I think the customer response from that side, I never really factored in when we started to build the program. I mean, we weren't requiring people to dress up, for example, right? But then you
No, but
keep
we
your
had a lot of
eyes,
people.
right? I mean, we weren't doing costume, competitions. We weren't doing anything like that. But, even without that, typically 30, 40, 50, 60% of the audience came dressed up.
Easily, and especially as we got closer to Halloween. But it is, I mean, I love that nostalgia factor because being an adult sucks. It's hard. I mean, like, there's so many things that pull you from that. So to be able to kind of almost go back to your roots and just kind of forget your responsibilities, even for an hour, to give somebody that, to just enjoy it and have fun and just be able to kind of harness that energy and that excitement, like, that's such a cool gift to be able to give people, just like a little bit of a reprieve for a little while. But I feel like if it's like, the field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. If you can create, people will show up for that. And we saw it. I mean, some of the costumes that people came in were amazing, homemade. They planned it. They have
Yeah.
group chats. Like, they're researching what they want to do. We had a couple girls one year come as grape clusters. They literally came in as grapes. We had a couple that I follow them on social media. They came in Beauty and the Beast, full ball gown. He came as Hades one year. Like, they take the time to show up because we've created a space for them to do that.
hmm Yeah, and it's funny. We did a bunch of adult Easter egg hunts, and those are actually
Mhm.
pretty popular. Those are a whole nother basket of
They
eggs.
have different challenges. Good
Right.
pun. Nice pun.
Adult summer camp, which I
Yes.
still feel, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity in this space to launch adult summer camp type programming revolving around food, bev, hospitality. I mean, it is growing. I mean, I know there's several, national travel publications that are now highlighting adult camps, sleepaway camps and other
Yeah.
things. And we even in the 3 years that we did, we launched adult summer camps, got national traction through USA Today and some other travel publications. So I think that there's a lot there that sort of sparks that kind of nostalgic emotion too. And then the one that I wouldn't advise anybody to do, which was the adult pictures with Santa, more so because of the name, I think, than anything else. But
The Santas were questionable
been
a little
there,
bit.
done
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So maybe not so much, but I think that there are again a lot of those nostalgic concepts that a winery could tap into and create something that's completely their own. The next one isn't obvious. It's social media gold, right? I mean, like you were saying, the costumes, like the people are typically coming in a very festive mood. They're already entering the property happy, excited, knowing that they are doing something together with friends that they've been planning for weeks or months. And so you just get these very natural, authentic candids of people just really enjoying themselves.
Yeah, it's really honestly it's marketing gold. Like, you can see people and they're like in their natural habitat, I guess. Like, you're right. They've been planning, they're excited, they're with their friends, they're dressed up, they feel good, like maybe they've had a glass of wine already, but it is probably the most authentic space to find photos and videos for what you want to promote, because you're not like telling somebody like, okay, look over here, it's spot, like, they're doing it, they're already happy to be there. Like, we have already set the stage, and you cannot find anything, I think, more genuine than that.
Yeah, yeah. And then really the last one is that it's sticky. It kind of sticks in their minds. I mean, this goes back to how many people come year after year, they change their costumes, they gather their friends, it becomes a tradition for them. And I think that this is another topic for, I think, for another podcast that we'll probably maybe talk about as the weather gets a little colder. But the idea of tradition, right? The idea of like, we do this every year, something for people to look forward to. I think there's tremendous power in that. And if you can build a program that they have fun and they want to come back year after year, they will do the marketing amongst their own friends for you. Because there's always that one person in the group saying, guys, tickets just came out. Who's coming? I'll get them. Venmo me. I just want to make sure we get our date and we get our time slot.
Well, I mean, we saw that, right? It's like there was 5 of us last year, but now there's 7 of us. And then the year before that, there was only, and these groups grow, the excitement grows, and it's just such a cool thing to be able to do, to be a part of someone's tradition, right? To create something that like people feel like your place is theirs, I guess, right? And like for me, and this is again a side tangent of just like making people feel welcome in general within your winery, but then to create events that foster that for 10 years or 5 years, like we are a staple in their corner, that they wait for it every year, that there's planning involved. Like, what a bigger compliment to receive than to have those people come over and over and over again for like what you're doing and what you offer them. Like, that's just such a cool thing to be a part of for people.
Yeah, and we've been lucky enough to experience that through several programs like Murder Mystery, for many, many years, if you do like a Memorial Day or a Labor Day program, that really is special for people. I mean, these are the kinds of things though that when you're starting to lay out what your event schedule is going to be or how you're going to engage customers at this experiential level, you really should be thinking about. You should be thinking about those tactics and what's going to make this program unique, sustainable, long term, and something you can count on, right? Something that you can
Mhm.
count when you're building your budget. You can say, all right, fourth quarter, October, we know we're going to be able to generate X.
Mhm.
And that can be a huge difference in how you manage cash and how you run your business from year to year if you know that you've got that sort of guaranteed program in place that's going to deliver every single time.
Well, it's something you can count on reliably all the time. Like you already kind of know, and we know with the nature of the industry, and a lot of it is weather beholden and summer vacation, and some of those weekends are hit or miss. So you can plan for the best of them. But if it's a beach weekend, if it rains, those things can slow you down. But for programs like that, people will come. We've seen it. They've walked with umbrellas, they've walked with ponchos. They're like, we are coming, hell or high water. We are going to trick or treat. So, like, it does give you a little bit, I think, of a safety net too. Like what that program is going to be able to do for you. And if you have several of them throughout the course of the year, maybe just one big one, at least you kind of have that in your back pocket.
Agreed. I mean, it's the power of a ticketed program that resonates with your customers, right? If they really want to be there, they buy their tickets, they're going to show up. It's no different than a sporting event or a concert or something that they've already committed to. And again, having that guaranteed revenue in place allows you to plan more effectively, not be at the mercy of the elements, and hopefully deliver on the best experience you possibly can for those customers when they show up.
100%.
Well, I think that this would be a great time to wind down the podcast for this week. But if folks get a chance, please take a look at my article on LinkedIn. You can access it through the Thirsty Bandit handle. So if you just search for Thirsty Bandit on LinkedIn, it should pop up. Again, my first foray in actually doing an article on LinkedIn. So we'll see if we'll throw some more of them out there. But I just thought it's that time of year, and it's gotten me nostalgic, Rach, thinking about all the
I
years,
know.
all the hours spent building this program, and it's kind of fun to see it sort of fly on its own, but it's also, it's happy
It
sad.
is. It's weird to be apart from it. It really is. My first October, I was like, what do I what do I do? Like it takes so much of your time and there's so much build out and you're prepping, but you're laughing while you do it. And you have your team with you, and it is a really big program to separate yourself from. I'm not immune to the nostalgic, happy sadness of being away from it.
All right. Well, we'll dry our tears and eat some of our Halloween candy tonight, and then get back at this next week with another exciting guest. But until then, thanks for listening, everybody. Rach, as always, it's a pleasure, buddy.
A pleasure. I'll
All
see you
right.
next week.
Take care, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for Strategy Sessions by Thirsty Bandit Consulting. Like, follow, subscribe, share at Thirsty Bandit Co. We hope to see you next time.